Hello, my name's David Seaman, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England football supporters podcast. How are ya? Hope I find you well. This is the Andorra and Senegal preview episode. There's two nations that you never thought you'd hear us playing in successive games. I always enjoyed doing these ones. I know they go down really well. Hopefully this one will too. Coming up, I'm going to chat with Andorra's press manager. We've got a Senegal fan from New York, and we'll be having a guide around Nottingham, because that's where we'll be playing that Senegal game. I've also got the latest squad news too, so stand by for all of that. But before I do get to that, if you don't mind, I'd just like to remind you of a couple of things. Obviously, all the previous episodes are available at your podcast provider of choice. There's plenty of them there to keep you occupied of late. There are all the social media channels too. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the usual ones. Go give them a follow, a like. But the main thing I'd like to once again mention to you is England Shirt Day, Tuesday the 10th of June. I really hope that the rain keeps away that day, as it would be great to see so many England shirts on all four sides of the city ground. So many different types of England shirts, so many different coloured England shirts. And you don't just have to go to the city ground. Wherever you're watching the game, be it at home or in the pub, whatever England shirt you've got, dig it out, wear it to the game. If it's got three lions on it, it's acceptable. But before you do so, don't forget, please, just head to the fundraising page, fundraise.cancerresearchuk.org/page/England Shirt Day. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, it's a bit of a long one. Head to my socials, you will find it there. I'm trying to raise funds for the Bobby Moore Fund. It's for bowel cancer. It's already made great progress. So many thanks if you've already contributed. Thank you so much. Still plenty of time to get on board. Just head to that link. Couple of quid. Seriously, that's all I ask. A quid, couple of quid, less than a pint, less than a coffee. And hopefully we can provide them with a nice little cash pot. And then on the day, I'll be wandering around the ground. You can give us some donations in some way, shape or form there and then. Right, back to the football. Let's get back to qualifying for the World Cup. We're in Group K, currently top of that, following those two opening round victories over Albania and Latvia at Wembley in March. Remember those? No, me neither. Andorra, bless them, currently bottom after two games after losing at home to Latvia and away to Albania. Now the schedule is as follows. Andorra away in Barcelona. Yes, if you didn't know by now, Andorra have decided to play away from their home country in this fixture. Keep listening and you'll find out more. Anyway, that game is on Saturday the 7th of June. Then, as I mentioned, we return home and head to Nottingham on the 10th of June for that Senegal friendly. Loads to get through on this episode, so let's start with the squad, which was Thomas Tuchel's second, which he announced on the morning of Friday the 23rd of May. Here we go, three goalkeepers: Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, James Trafford. Defenders: Trent Alexander-Arnold, Dan Burn, Trevor Chalobah, Levi Colwill, Reece James, Ezri Konsa, Miles Lewis-Skelly and Kyle Walker. In midfield, we've got Jude Bellingham, Eberichi Eze, Conor Gallagher, Morgan Gibbs-White, Jordan Henderson, Curtis Jones, Cole Palmer, Declan Rice and Morgan Rogers. And then up front, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Noni Madueke, Bukayo Saka, Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins. It is a 26-man squad with 669 caps across it, 116 goals, an average age of 26.3. Jude Bellingham is the youngest. I still can't get over that. 21 years old, 42 caps. Amazing. I mean, he's gonna... If Harry Kane doesn't get to Peter Shilton's 125 caps record, Jude Bellingham surely will. He'll surpass Harry Kane. He'll surpass Peter Shilton, undoubtedly. Carl Walker is the oldest. Now, he just turned 35 on the 28th of May. As I say, Harry Kane, just mentioned him, the most capped at the moment currently with 105. And as you well know, the highest goal scorer with 71 goals to his name. Now, 2 in the squad are uncapped. Goalkeeper James Trafford, who recently celebrated promotion to the Premier League with Burnley. And also Chelsea's Trevor Chalobah, younger brother to Nathaniel, who he had the unfortunate record of being the player with the least amount of playing time for England. Back in 2018, he came onto the pitch in injury time for his one and only cap. Let's hope that Trevor can earn a little more time in an England shirt. Do you know, I'm just looking through this squad and so I mentioned about James Trafford coming up to the Premier League. Didn't win a trophy because Burnley came second, but we've got so many trophy winners from this season in the squad, be it Liverpool players, Chelsea players, Newcastle United. We've got a couple in there. It's full of winners, this squad. But we also have the return of Conor Gallagher. We also have the return of Ivan Toney. Many will question that, just because he's playing in the Saudi League, in the same way that I probably did when Jordan Henderson was playing there. And I get that people may question that. But striker-wise, without Toney, we only have Kane and Watkins. So I think it's a justified move. And Toney gives us a slightly different angle, doesn't he? And he's been doing his job over in Saudi. He's been scoring goals. He's been putting the ball in the net, over 20 goals. And he also won the Asian Champions League with his side Al Ahly. So in my eyes, I've got no issue with that one. I think, I say, we may mock the Saudi League, but let's be frank, when we're playing Andorra in this window, I think it's perfectly acceptable. But with a squad of 26, now this slightly changed since the squad was announced. We had 5 from Chelsea, 3 from Aston Villa and Arsenal, 2 from Crystal Palace, Newcastle and Liverpool, of which one of those players from Liverpool left, as we all knew he would do, Trent Alexander-Arnold being the one, but he left early to head to Madrid, to Real Madrid. So Real Madrid now have 2 players in this squad, Jude Bellingham and Trent. Of course, they're going to be going to that Club World Cup very soon after this international window. But other teams providing us with 1 player: Everton, Burnley, Forest, AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, Ajax, Bayern Munich, and as we mentioned, Toney from Al Ahly. Now, I think it is fair to say that there is a little bit of maybe controversy around this squad, what with 8 of them going on to, as I mentioned, the Club World Cup. Those with Chelsea, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, both Madrid sides will be going to it. But Tuchel has made it clear he won't be releasing any of them early. Many will say that this June window is perhaps unnecessary. I'd say it's probably more of an inconvenience with players, with regards to players' well-being. The amount of games that they are going to play after playing a full season, then going into an international break, then going on to this Club World Cup. I think it could be a recipe for disaster. But within this squad is the selection of Jude Bellingham, who has carried a shoulder injury for some time now, and he's scheduled to have surgery after this Club World Cup. To me, this isn't looking after players. This is both club and country putting their own interests before the players' welfare. And if I'm totally honest, I don't think there is any need for Jude to be part of this squad if he is carrying this injury. Rest, recuperate. I mean, Jude obviously may want to be part of it, but as we all know, this is the modern game. It's a game where money talks. And I go back to welfare. Phil Foden, he's not in the squad. He requested to be omitted from it for a couple of reasons. Now, he suffered an ankle injury back in April against Manchester United, and he then added, I've had a lot of things going on off the pitch, mentally. It's one of them. Sometimes there's things in life that are bigger than football. This season, I've struggled a bit. Hopefully, come next year, I can get my head mentally right, get back where I left the season before, because I know what I'm capable of doing and the quality I have. I think we all know the quality that Phil Foden has. He may not have shown it for England as much as we'd like, but then I go back to this Club World Cup. City are in this. They're going to be jetting off to the States for that. And cynically, I'm going to say that Phil Foden will be on that Manchester City branded plane. What can we do? Whilst we're talking City, Jack Grealish, he hasn't been selected by Thomas Tuchel either. There's no Marcus Rashford. There are no Manchester United players. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Kobbie Mainoo. Manchester United, it appears I've got a bit of a beam up on it now, doesn't it? Manchester United, they headed off, as soon as the Premier League season had finished, they headed off the other side of the world to Malaysia and Hong Kong to play a couple of friendlies. I think they picked up a trophy over there called the Defining Education Challenge Cup. I mean, please, is it really necessary for teams to be going that far around the world so soon after a season? I mean, fair enough, none of these Manchester United players will be turning out for England, but there's going to be other players that will be turning out for their respective national side. We'd go back to money again. It's just ruining the game, in my opinion. But also omitted Jared Bowen from West Ham, Dominic Solanke from Tottenham. There are a couple from Palace missing, Mark Gay and Adam Wharton. I think Mark Gay had an injury during the cup final, and I suspect that Adam Wharton will be selected for the under-21s. Dare I mention Ben White? He made himself available, but in this instance, I had a chat with the manager, and they both decided it would be best if he didn't return to this camp because he's due to become a father during the dates of these two games. So there's plenty to digest there, isn't there, with the squad? And by the time I've recorded this, it may well change. Now, England meets Andorra once again. It's Saturday, the 7th of June. It's World Cup qualifying, as it was last time we met when we were on our way to Qatar. Our last meeting was when England won 5-0 in Andorra. And prior to that, on the podcast, I spoke with the Andorran press officer, Ivan.
Hello, how are you, Russell?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, very well. We're waiting for this match. We are finishing the national competitions, but ready for the match against England.
How have the national competitions in Andorra been? I think last time we spoke, you explained a little bit about them.
Okay. The last week, the champion was Inter Club d'Escaldes after this season. and he won the last match to be champion the last week. We know that they go to play Champions League this summer, and Athletic Descaldes, another team of Escaldes, finished second. Both teams has to play the National Cup, Copa Constitució Valira Seguretat. So we have the third place for Europe in the league. And the Football Club Santa Coloma is the team that goes with Athletic Descaldes to play Conference League. These are the three teams that are going to play on summer the European competitions of club.
Exciting. How many teams are in the Andorran League?
Okay, we have first division. We have 10 teams. We had 8 since 2022. 2 years ago, but we increased the number from 8 to 10. Now the second division has not a lot of teams, but we think in 3, 4, 5 years it will be a strong competition. The second, because this change, of course, has injured the second division.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I shall look out for the qualifying games over the summer for the Champions League and Europa League. Will be interesting. Well,
excuse me, Sarah. It's not Europa League. We don't have places for Europa League. We have 1 place for Champions and 2 places more for Conference League, not for Europe League.
For the conference, I see.
Yeah, but the champion, Interclub Descaldes, is going to play Champions League. But if they lose, they will pass to Europe League. So we can obviously participate in Europe League if unfortunately our team, our champion, doesn't goes in the good way in Champions.
I understand. Okay, that's domestic football in Andorra. Let's talk international football. You are still the press manager for Andorra, yes?
Yes. Well, I'm the DIRCOM, but yes, it's similar. But yes, we have a team in the communications department of 5 people working for videos, working for photos, marketing, and 2 journalists who tries to communicate everything about our national our federation.
I see. I imagine the last month, 6 weeks have been very busy for you.
Yes, of course, but we had a lot of times with a lot of work, but it's becoming in all the year with high work. So we are growing a lot. Football is growing a lot here in Andorra. Of course, the women's football is crazily growing, and of course we have to confront a lot of work more. And yes, we with 4 or 5 people is difficult. But we tried.
Yeah, more staff.
All the best as we can.
you need more people, more staff.
Yes. I always need more people, of course, but we can try to work well with the people we are.
Of course,
with the crew. Yeah, we have an excellent crew, so we try to do our best, and I think we do a very good work.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you're helping me out very much. I appreciate it. Now, the obvious question that people want to know about is last time when England played Andorra, we played you in Andorra, and
yes,
everyone when the draw was made, and England were drawn with Andorra, Latvia, Serbia, and someone else who I forget, and everyone assumed, yes, we will play you in Andorra again. But no, now that the game has been switched to Barcelona, to Espanyol's new stadium, can you explain what the situation is?
Yes, of course.
Please.
First of all, I have to add that the last team you forgot is Albania. Albania, Latvia, Serbia, England, and Andorra. No problem. It's okay. We are working in a new stadium in Andorra. We have this new stadium, not in the capital, in Andorra la Vella, as we played the last time. It was Estadio Nacional. We are going to play now in Encamp as a home team. We are the stadium is under construction. We are finishing, but we don't arrive for this match. Why? Because UEFA is mandatory for us to have a test of all the stadium. Test in the pitch, but test of food lighting, dressing rooms, everything. It's important, the security. Okay, so we were working to finish the stadium before the match against England, before June, but we need the test with UEFA. This test needs maybe perhaps 3 weeks of work of UEFA after validating, but because it's possible that they don't validate some things, so it could be a problem for us to arrive on time to this match, to 7th of June. So we decided, of course, an important match as England. We decided to go to RCD Stadium. It's an excellent stadium, one of the best in Europe, and we don't want to assume any risk in this kind of matches, because of course England is a strong team in Europe. They move a lot of fans, so it was not a good idea to risk about playing in the new stadium. So I wish that we play again with England 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the next 4 years or 5 years when it can be possible. But now it's impossible to play in the new stadium. Our intention was to celebrate the inauguration with England because it's an important team. It was the perfect excuse, the perfect match with a strong team in Europe to host the first match in our new stadium, but it's not possible, so we have to change the plans.
Okay, yes, I understand.
Yeah, but sorry, Russell, but I think that it's better for you because the communications from UK to Barcelona are better than Andorra. You save one travel by bus of 3 hours going to Andorra and 3 hours coming back to Barcelona. So, and you will be in an excellent stadium in Europe that you know. So yes. I think England is happy about this decision.
One question I do have, with the old stadium, what is the situation there? Why could the game not be played at the old stadium?
Okay, we can play at the old stadium, but it's a particular situation in Andorra. You know that it's a very little country in Europe, so we don't have a lot of pitches. We don't have a lot of stadiums to play. We always need pitches for the clubs to train. They need hours of training, and of course, as well as you have a lot of stadiums, the teams can do more hours of training, but it's not the situation here. And we share pitches with another sports too. So imagine which is the problem. This old stadium, the national stadium, it belongs to government of Andorra. It's not of Andorra Federation. It's the government of Andorra. We we create the stadium according with UEFA, with the collaboration of UEFA, adding all the necessary to have a UEFA stadium validated for playing international matches. But rugby plays, Football Club Andorra plays in the Spanish league, the second league of the third league of Spanish, sorry. So they need a stadium too. They don't have it, so they have to use it during the season. The rugby needs this pitch for playing the matches as a home team. So, of course, we have not more than 6-7 matches in a year, but day by day, it's a bigger problem to play in the national stadium. So it's why we decide to build a new stadium for us, not depending from rugby, and stadium of the national team, not for the government.
Okay,
and it's a reason. So we worked 4 years ago, thinking in these European qualifiers. Obviously, we didn't know which were the teams we had to play, but we know that we had a strong team like England. It could be England, it could be France, it could be Spain, it could be Italy, but a strong team. Yes. So we planned it, arriving to this month, June approximately, to play the first match in the new station. But obviously, after 4 years of working, we can risk it.
That's understandable. Mm-hmm. Tell me, I assume you have been to the RCDE Stadium in Barcelona?
Yes. We visited the Spanish Stadium 2 weeks ago. We need to take a look to everything. We need to know which needs we have, which things can provide to everybody. Of course, from my side is the press or the media of England, Andorra, and neutral media that is going to come to the match. So we take a look 2 weeks ago.
Is it?
It's 3 days before.
Okay.
Organizing everything.
Yeah, I see. For supporters that have not been to the stadium before, what is it like? Okay,
of course, it's not Wembley. you have a temple there, but believe me that we could check everything, and they have a very modern stadium with all the commodities and all very good communications with the international with other cities of Europe. So it's excellent for the position and excellent for the stadium that is one of the more modern in Europe, I think.
I see.
I visited a lot of stadiums in Europe, and believe me that it's an excellent stadium. It's fantastic. Yeah. You have capacity for more than 150 journalists, for example, that I only have seen in maybe stadiums like Wembley and not more.
Really? Oh, wow.
Believe me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. How about the football? Obviously, Andorra are currently bottom of the group. You lost to Latvia and Albania. How is the feeling with people when the draw was made? Did they think maybe we can win a game here, maybe Latvia or Albania?
If we don't feel that we can't win, we don't need to play. Of course, we know that we have 0.1% of possibilities of chances to win, but we try it. Of course, we have to defense strong, but we think about one chance to arrive and score. Of course, we always think about it. We always think that the win is possible, but we know the reality. We know that England has one of the best players in the world, top players. Obviously, we played with England for 3-4 years ago, and believe me that we know the real potential of a team like England. We are going to suffer a lot. You know? Yeah.
Who is the player to look out for who plays for Andorra?
I don't know what to answer you, because a few years ago, maybe a decade ago, we had 1, 2, 3 players like Ildefonso Lima or Bernaus playing in a top level, playing in first division in Spain, or maybe in Switzerland, like Ildefonso Lima, or second division in Italy. So they had a strong level, a high level in comparison with the other players. But now we don't have an Ildefonso Lima, we don't have a Bernaus. Maybe the best one is our goalkeeper, the son of the head coach, is Iker Álvarez de Eulate. He plays at Villarreal B, the second team of Villarreal. Maybe he's now the player who plays in a highest level,
right,
in football. But we have a lot of players near him, players in third division, like Berto Rosas, for example. We have 3, 4, 5 players more playing in a division not so high as Iker, but in a high level. So we don't have stars, but we have a strongest group. I think we are developing like this with the years.
A strong team who believe they can win.
Yes, with not 1 or 2 players with another level, but all the players as a team are better now than when we had Ildefonso Lima or Bernaus. Why? Because the other players were playing in divisions lower than now. You know, we have the capacity to move players to Catalonia, for example, that they have a regional competition but very strong. And places that they can develop their football better than in Andorra. Of course, that you play all the weekends, play with the same teams, and you always play with the same players. So we don't grow a lot here. Yeah,
I think a win, maybe not against England, but I think a win will be coming soon. San Marino, they won recently, so I think the smaller teams are slowly getting together. Or not?
I don't think so, Russell. Sorry,
Okay.
but I think that we can beat England.
Yeah, good. I like it. Positive.
This is my dream. This is my thought, and obviously I know that it's going to be an incredible match, but we have to enjoy it. But we know that we are going to suffer a lot with England, but we wish that we can win. The last matches we won were in the Nations League on 2021. We beat San Marino at home, and in San Marino we beat 2-0 and 0-3, and this is the last time we got a win in October 2021. So we are now in a not very good position, but not with Albania in the last match, but with Latvia we lost 0-1 in the first match of these European qualifiers, the Group K. But we had very good feelings. We arrived to more than 40% of possession. We had 7 goal attempts for 6 of Latvia, and I think this is the way.
Yes.
This is the way for the win, but perhaps not against England, who has a player of another level, the highest in Europe. So we have to be real with us. We have to think that we have to defend, and obviously we think we can win England, but this is not the match, of course, that we think to break this 3 or 4 years without wins in official matches.
Well, it's football. Anything can happen.
Yes, of course. It's why we believe.
Absolutely. Ivan, thank you very much for your time. Maybe
You're welcome.
With the 150 press seats in the RCD Stadium, I shall come and find you. And say
I hope to meet you.
Yes, I will.
I hope to meet you there. After speaking 2 times, 4 years ago and now, it's a pleasure to speak with you, and it would be a pleasure for me, of course, to meet you in person, of course.
I will try my best and send you a message.
Okay, I wait you there.
Thank you. All right, and all the best. Good luck. Hope everything.
Thank you. A big hug for you and for your audience.
Take care.
Bye. Take care.
Now, Nottingham, the City Ground, home to Nottingham Forest. England head there on the 10th of June. Senegal will be our opponents. We'll find out a little bit more about them in a moment. But first, let's find out a little bit more about the City on the Trent, as it's been 116 years since the senior men played there. Wales in a British Championship match, which we won 2-0 for all you fact finders. And it's my pleasure to welcome to the podcast Forest season ticket holder Adam Mollison from the Tricky Talks podcast. Adam, hello.
Hi there. Good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, mustn't grumble, and thanks for having me.
No, more than welcome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, you're hopefully going to give us a little guide to Nottingham. It's been a little while since I've been there, but Forest first though. What a season that's been. I bet the City Ground has been rocking, has it?
Absolutely. And apart from feeling like we not blew, but we were hoping for Champions League for quite a while. But in the end, if you'd have offered me Europe and 7th place back in August, I'd have bit your hand off. And it's a massive progression from where we were a year ago, 3 years ago, and so on. We've got some decent players that others are now looking at, even England players finally after a long time. So absolutely no complaints. It's been absolutely fabulous. And I think one of the comments made by away fans has been the atmosphere at the City Ground is very, very good, as you'll hopefully see on the June 10th.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I've never been to the City Ground, so I'm looking forward to it. But what I've seen on the TV, tight little ground, 4 sides, was it 30,000?
Yeah, just over 30,000. It's a proper old school stadium. You know, if you're used to all the trimmings of, don't expect too much hot water unless you're in hospitality, but, you know, good views from all over the ground. That's one good thing. But fantastic atmosphere. And as we'll get to, plenty going on in and around the ground before the games, plenty of places to sort of wet your whistle, so to speak, so you're ready for the game. Plenty of places to eat and drink. So I love it. Obviously, I'm biased, but I would say probably one of the most picturesque spots for a football ground, because unusually for a football ground, it's not in the inner cities or in the slightly more challenging areas. It's actually in one of the fairly expensive areas of town, right next to Trent Bridge Cricket Ground.
Of course. Yeah, Trent Bridge. And from what I can gather, it's also near another team in Nottingham, isn't it?
Yeah, little Notts County down the road, their little Meccano Stadium, 400 yards away. It's there as well. But and the racecourse is down the road. And in fact, and again, we'll get to that later, Nottingham Rugby Club is also literally over the road as well. And that offers its own things on match day as well.
Oh, fair enough. Well, let's start. For those that are getting into Nottingham, because the vast majority of us, I guess, will be coming from all different angles, what's the best way to get into the city?
I mean, to be fair, it's just 3 separate junctions for the M1. The A1 is easily linked to it as well. If you're coming from the east or the west, you'll hit the M1 or the A1 anyway. So it's very easy to get to. That's, hence why it's the Midlands, the middle of the city. It's not a difficult place to get to in that respect. In terms of the city ground, if you're coming from the south, aim for West Bridgeford. Don't aim for the city centre because you'll go past the ground. And if you're coming from the north, it'll throw you in probably around the ring road, it's quite a good ring road in Nottingham, like any ring road, as long as there's no accidents. And I would generally recommend parking. Depends obviously on your accessibility. If you don't want to walk far, there's plenty of parking near the ground. But in terms of routes in, you're following the signs for West Bridgeford more so than Nottingham itself. Once you get towards the edges of Nottingham, you come in on the A453 from the south, or probably A52 is best if you're coming down from the north.
Okay, so is West Bridgeford, is that like an area of Nottingham?
Technically, it's a separate part. It's Rushcliffe Council. It's Nottingham's got a very strange boundary in that it was drawn many, many moons ago, and they used the river as part of the boundary. And what it meant was people that live south of the river don't actually live in Nottingham City, even though it's very close to the city. And north of the river is all considered Nottingham City. So West Bridgeford it's its own separate town, but it is literally Trent Bridge, the bridge over the river, and then from Nottingham, then you get to West Bridgeford when you cross the river, which is where the ground is situated. So it's technically, and people love to point this out sometimes, technically the ground isn't in Nottingham City as it is now drawn, but the boundaries are ridiculous. If you ever see the boundaries, they were drawn many moons ago to try and get more investment into the inner cities. So all the sort of, for want of a better phrase, more affluent areas that they cut out of it, which is why Nottingham always figures in areas of deprivation and whatnot, even though it's actually a fantastic, vibrant city.
Looking forward to seeing it. I've got to be honest. I think I was taken to Centre Parks as a kid, and I think that was the last time I went sort of that way, sort of Sherwood Forest. And I remember seeing, I remember my parents took me to see the Robin Hood statue and all that. And I can't really remember whether that's central or whatever, but that's obviously a famous part of Nottingham's heritage. What else have we got?
Well, you obviously, as you say, you've got Robin Hood, which is the most televisively or filmed fairy tale, if you like, or legend version has ever been of anything, randomly, cartoons and a lot. I mean, Nottingham's famous for many things, and it's always evolved. It's kind of, it's got this label of being the rebel city for lots and lots of reasons, going all the way back to the sort of Robin Hood legends, various other things. It was, historically, many cities have been built on the slave trade. Nottingham was one of the first cities to reject slavery, things like that. It's very famous for its lace back in the day, Nottingham lace. Rally bikes were originated here and whatnot.
Of course, yeah.
Lots of famous personalities. But it was a very industrial city, obviously, especially post-war. But it's recreated itself as industries have, and particularly in this part of the world, mines closed down and whatnot over the years. As a service city, and at one point, Nottingham was their third biggest financial centre outside of London, because of big companies like Experian and Capital One and whatnot based themselves here with their head offices. But it's famous for a lot of things, dare I say. I moved away at one point for 17 years, and when I came back, I couldn't understand why I ever left. It's a wonderful city, wonderful people. Like all cities, got its issues that are along the way. If you're going to visit one statue, just the one, as a football fan, and it's only 5 minutes walk from the Robin Hood statue, I'd go for the Brian Clough one.
Of course.
At Speaker's Corner.
Okay. Well, one thing we need to talk is pubs and grub.
Absolutely.
Football fans, obviously, we like a drink, like something to nibble on. Where are we going? What do you recommend?
Well, that's a tough one because we're spoiled for choice, like many cities, I guess. Nearest to the ground, if you want a kind of takeaway type thing, there is an unbelievable, what we call in the Midlands a cob shop, but Southerners would say is a roll. And it's a meal, it's like a roast meal in itself, full of roast pork, apple sauce, stuffing, all that. And I think one of the guys on YouTube that did the football grub tour couldn't believe how good it was. Get there early though, because the queues are enormous. You've also got on Radcliffe Road, which is a road that runs directly between Trent Bridge Cricket Ground and the City Ground, which are literally over the road from each other. There's loads of eateries there that you've got these takeaways, your pizzas and whatnot. You've also got, I'm sticking to food at the minute because the drinking afterwards. You've also got a 5-minute walk into West Bridgeford Centre, the other side of the cricket ground. There's loads of places to eat there. Whether you want a sit-down meal, you've got lovely restaurants. You've got your chain restaurants like your Pizza Express. Locally, there's a thing. There's like a chicken shop type thing. Then a lot of the pubs slightly further out serve food as well. Lord and Voster's fantastic food. It's restaurant standard food, to be fair, which is right next to the ground. If people are coming by train, because obviously train station's very accessible, so it's probably about a 20-minute walk from the train station to the ground. And if you walk the most direct route, it's not the most picturesque, that bit. It's quite industrial, but once you hit Trent Bridge, it's the most wonderful sight, I have to say. Not that I'm biased. But there are lots of eateries on the way that way as well, some of which are pubs, usual sort of chip shops, all that kind of thing knocking about. A lot of supporters, and particularly away fans that come to Forest, they tend to stick to Nottingham City, which is fantastic. But then West Bridgeford over the river has also got so much choice, as I say. I shouldn't say it like this, but if it's the kids, there's a McDonald's 2 minutes from the ground, as always. Isn't there everywhere if you want to eat a salt burger or whatever? Every kind of food you can imagine. There's a really fantastic, fittingly Greek restaurant, Spanish restaurant, all on Radcliffe Road, which is, as I say, very close. And the usual burger stands and all that type of thing. Yeah. I don't want to do my club down because I love it. The food in the Forest ground outside of the hospitality is fairly typical football fare, except in the fan zone where they do have some fabulous sort of trucks and whatnot there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to show my age slightly, I guess, here, where I cast my mind back to Forest shirts, and they were sponsored by Shipstone Beers and Labatt's and all that. I mean, are they sort of home-produced beers? I don't know.
They not Labatt's, but Shipstone's was. The Shipstone Brewery has closed down, sadly, like many. Well, I'll say sadly. It wasn't a great pint, Shipstone's.
Right.
It had a nickname round here that rhymed with Shipstone's.
Gotcha.
But there is, for the real ale drinkers, and I'm older than you, but I'm not a real ale drinker, but friends of mine are there 2 or 3 Castle Rock breweries in our walking distance from the ground, and where they do all their various, I don't even know what they are, homemade on site beer and whatnot, that the real ale drinkers absolutely rave. One is the Vat and Fiddle, which is just next to the train station. That's literally, you get off the train, if you went out the main entrance and walk straight past you see a really big new building there. You can't miss it. And then you've got there's another Castle Rock brewery in West Bridgeford that's called the Strafton, which is, again, probably about five minutes or so from the ground, depending on where you're sitting. One thing to be aware of with Forest, if you've not been before, where you're sitting will affect what time you need to get to the game.
Okay.
Because of all the development over the years, you can't walk straight around the whole ground anymore. You kind of have to go a little bit, not around the houses massively, but you can add on another 5 minutes or so. And if you're sitting in certain stands, then it can be a bit slow getting in because there's not many turnstiles for certain stands that were originally intended for away fans before numbers changed. So they've kind of only got a few turnstiles. But like all games, you should just give yourself plenty of time to get in. You'll be fine.
Absolutely.
Pubs, this is where it gets quite good fun. Right next to the ground, literally, you walk out of the front door of this pub and you're in the car park to what the Peter Taylor stand is, the Boot Room, which is a popular spot. Along that road I've already spoken about, Radcliffe Road, you've got the world famous Trent Bridge Inn, should I say, that overlooks the Trent Bridge cricket ground. The William Gunn and the Lord and Vos just round the corner. They're all great places, all 2 minutes from the ground or 10 minutes from the other end of the ground. And the tram, now, if you're coming on the Trent, I have to mention it, and I'm not going to criticise it, but away fans do tend to like to visit the UK's only Hooters, which is between the ground and the train station. It used to be good for food, believe it or not.
Right.
Last time I went there, it wasn't great. And there's a fantastic pub right next to the Notts County ground, funnily enough, called the Trent Navigation. Let's assume it's going to be hot. It's got a really good outdoor area, big screen and everything. Usually have entertainment. Often they'll have a barbecue going on, that type of thing, if the weather's good. They're the ones nearest to the ground, I'd say, if you don't walk into West Bridgeford.
Okay.
And I've forgotten it. I wrote them all down before I came. But the one I probably should mention out on its own for people travelling in car is Nottingham Rugby Club are based on Lady Bay Bridge, which is the other side of the Forest ground from Trent Bridge, if that makes sense. And if you follow the signs to Lady Bay Bridge, they actually have parking for quite a lot of cars, being a rugby club.
Yeah.
And I think generally, and I think normally it was about 10 quid or 15 quid a car. It wasn't, and you get a beer token, so they get you in their bar, and they do proper, like a typical rugby club. They do good priced beer. Your parking's there, and it is literally a stone's throw from the ground. And they're open afterwards if you want to wait around for the traffic to dissipate. But generally speaking, it's not a bad ground to get away from traffic wise. If like me, whenever I go to a football match, home or away, I'll begrudge paying to park. There is plenty of road parking if you're there reasonably early, but you be prepared to walk. And that's on the West Bridgeford side. But on the city side, the embankment has got relatively cheap parking as well, and some street parking. But like all football grounds now, there's less and less of it on that side.
Yeah, gotcha. Oh, no, nice one. Thanks for all the tips there. I mean, just as a finger in the air, if you are in the city centre and you're walking, how long is it going to take for an average person?
From the city centre, you're probably looking at about 25 minutes.
Okay.
You need to give yourself a good. If it's towards kick-off time, you need to give yourself a bit longer because obviously Trent Bridge, especially, it gets very congested walking-wise. The train station is the Forest ground side of the city, if that makes sense. So if you were going from the train station into the city, you'd then walk back past the train station effectively to go to the ground. And you're talking about, in this day and age with Google Maps and that, I suppose people do know. If you know where you're going, you're never really going to need more than half an hour for an average person. As I say, it does get busy. And if you haven't got Google Maps, you could easily go the wrong way. It'd take a lot longer.
Well, you just need to be following the crowds.
Yeah, basically. But I think because of the nature of the game, and obviously it's going to be a sellout, they'll have all the usual stuff will be open. There is, I should have mentioned, if you go by train and you come out and walk down what's called towards London Road, there's also a big new complex called the Island Quarter, and there's a very good outdoor area there, actually, thinking about it, because the weather will be good, with various pubs and street food and whatnot they put on, and they've got a stage. Sometimes they'll have other stuff going on. And that's about probably a 15-minute walk from the ground when I've gone there pre-match. I tend to, if I'm being honest, start quite often, if it's especially a big day, start off quite near the train station in town, and we work our way towards the ground, stopping at various places. We always end up at the boot room or the Lord and Vos on the doorstep, so we can get one in at 5 to 3 before we go in.
That's all football fans will do. Sort of late as you can. Yeah, no, nice one. Well, I mean, let's go back to Forest and tie it in with a bit of England. Morgan Gibbs-White must be really proud.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because having watched him, I mean, he was already a good player when we signed him, obviously, but having watched his development and becoming more, a little bit more consistent, but more consistent about where he does what needs to be done. He doesn't do his tricks and flicks his own half anymore. It's been good to watch him develop. It's quite interesting listening to the likes of Carragher talking about it, because he's a terrific player, but what he does, he's one of those players. This is why I'll be surprised if, without wishing to sound negative, if Man City sign him if he's a success there. He's one of those players that he has a 10-minute spell maybe in the game, maybe 15-minute spell in the game, and he'll tear the opposition apart. And if he has that 15-minute spell, often that's enough to win the game. Mm-hmm. He's only played well in that respect for 80 minutes once this season, I'd say. And it was against Brighton, and we hammered them 7-0, which kind of gives you an idea of how impactful he is. That said, it's not that he's not doing anything in those other 80 minutes or 70 minutes when he's not turning on the magic. He's still highly involved in the game, knocking it about, doing what he does, loads of touches the ball. And I would argue, I haven't seen a harder working player in that number 10 role anywhere. He's so far from a luxury number 10 player as you can get. I mean, he has to be playing for Forest because we have about 30 or 40% possession. But he works his socks off, and we've watched him mature into a leader, a quality player, a hard-working player. And, I really hope we hang on to him because he's the sort of player you build a team around. And I would imagine in an England team that get loads of possession, especially with all due respect against Senegal, he could be, if he gets picked, devastating. I'm not suggesting he's better than the other number 10 options. England have got incredible options, but given the chance, he could be devastating, as I say. And I think in one of his England appearances, he was only on for about 10 minutes, wasn't he? He played an inch perfect pass and whatnot, and that's what he can do. But he doesn't. He's not. I'm not going to name other number 10s, but he's not one of those that when he's not tearing teams apart, he's not involved in the game. He kind of goes looking for the ball and does lots of basic link play. And as I say, when we haven't got the ball, you will not find a harder working number 10 anywhere in terms of covering the mileage. If he could shoot, it'd be worth 150 million. Or when he learns to shoot, when he improves in shooting, should we say. But yeah, incredibly proud, everybody is.
Good. And I imagine he's been the subject of many a podcast on the Tricky Talks podcast. Tell us about that.
Well, he would be. I've got my hands up here. It's a new podcast that somebody started recently that he will most definitely be a subject of it. But the Tricky Talks podcast is relatively new. The gentleman who's starting it is nearly as old as me, well, slightly older than me. And it's basically like all podcasts, in a sense. It's all about there'll be a bit of a review on the game, a preview of the next game, trying to get guests on and whatnot, and just another place to talk about Forest, really, and football, and enjoy it. And hopefully we'll get a few views here and there, and people enjoy it. I do get a bit emotional sometimes, not like that. What's his name? That Man United, who's actually a Forest fan.
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember his name. Real name is Brent. I thought it's Goldstein. Goldbridge, that's it. The lad from Nottingham who was a Forest fan till he found a way of trying to make money out of Man United, to be fair. But, there'll be the guy who runs it, Simon, he's quite level, whereas me and the other co-host, Chelsea, we get a little bit more emotional sometimes, as it were. And hopefully people enjoy it. But if not, we'll just have fun talking about Forest anyway, even if nobody's listening.
Go on, where can you find it?
It's on Spotify and is it Apple Tunes, just under the name Tricky Talks.
Is that the side, like social media side as well? Is it all there?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, there is, definitely is. This is my Luddite side coming out because Simon does all the technical stuff. But yeah, it's all over X and whatnot as he's been putting out there. And the other thing, if you get a chance to have a look at Garibaldi Girls, that's my daughter's started a group called the Garibaldi Girls, which is an all-female Forest group, or aimed at females, not all females, to be unfair. And a friend of mine you might have covered, got Dora on Tour, who does a good podcast as well.
Right.
One of the main ones. And avoid Forest Fans TV if you can.
I will. I'll say no more. Yeah. Oh, Adam, appreciate your time. It's been really interesting. Looking forward to coming up and seeing the sights of Nottingham, going to the ground, sort of ticking that one off as many football fans do.
But you need to walk over Trent Bridge, though, just to see that kind of iconic view of seeing the ground for the first time kind of thing. This is different. When you walk onto Trent Bridge from the Nottingham side, it's just iconic.
I'll get my camera ready.
Absolutely. Oh, there'll be loads of that. I guarantee it. People having a picture of that. Excellent. No, enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it.
Right, let's talk Senegal. Tuesday, the 10th of June. It's at the City Ground in Nottingham. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show. It's Mo, host of the Twitter or the X account at Senegal English. Mo, hello there.
How you doing? I'm good.
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm all right. Just enjoying the day right now. So
enjoying the day. Now, just a quick one. Obviously, you're the host of the Senegal account on Twitter, Senegal fan. You're actually over in the States, aren't you?
Yes, I live in New York. I've been watching Senegalese football since I was young. That's all I need. So, yeah, for a while.
Is Senegalese football easy to come by over in the States?
For the most part. I mean, you can watch the league football on YouTube because most of the teams just post it on their YouTube account. So it's very easy in that regard. And most Senegalese players play in France, and that's pretty easy to find with being sports here. So it's pretty easy to find.
Tell us a little bit about the Senegalese league and what's your team?
I don't really have a specific team. I just kind of watch it just to see like who's nice, essentially. Just who takes my eyes, that sort of stuff. If I had to choose a team, it would probably be the southern side, Castle Sports, because I grew up in the south of the country for a little while.
Okay.
But no, I just like watching Senegalese football, the league football there, because it's really charming, especially the fan culture. So that's basically it. I've been watching it for around 5 years now.
You say fan culture. How do you mean by that?
It's like West African culture when it comes to football is a lot different. It's a lot more music oriented. It's a lot more dancing vibes, that sort of stuff. So it's always like a fresh breath air. But it's new. It's a new experience to see that all the time. Yeah. That's why I really like it. That's why I like watching Senegalese football for the most part.
I wonder if this game at Nottingham we're going to see some of that then, singing and dancing. Yeah, it would be interesting. Now, I mean, England against Senegal, it's only happened the once.
Yeah, I believe so.
One time, our only meeting was back in 2022. It's the Qatar World Cup, round of 16, 3-0 victory, goals from Jordan Henderson, Harry Kane and Bukayo Saka. Remember watching that one?
I do remember watching that. It was right after, because it was like my finals week at university. So I was really busy, but I still tried to make some time to watch that game. There was like no pressure though going into that game, because I remember that tournament. Mane got injured and he was playing like his best football, like I want to say, in his career. And our offense really was dedicated towards him. So going into that World Cup without him, lots of plans changed. So the only real objective was to get out that group with Ecuador, the Netherlands, and the host Qatar. So after we did that, I was like, you know what? Anything can happen in this England game, but there's no real pressure because I feel like the objective was already met.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
I was looking actually back at like Senegalese national football history, and I'm reading that he won the African Cup of Nations 2021, and then there appeared to be an African Nations Championship, which you won in 2022. Yeah. Which are they not the same thing?
No, they're not the same thing actually, because the Nations Championship is for local players only, so players only playing in Africa, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, so we won that tournament for the first time, and then we won the under-20s, the under-17s, and the beach soccer in 2023. So it kind of led to a whole list of trophies that we haven't won before, essentially.
Okay, so I mean, with wins like that, victories at age groups like that, is the feeling positive then, Senegalese football?
It was positive last year, not so much this year.
Right.
Because recently the under-20s got dumped out of the quarterfinals, I want to say 2 weeks ago. And then the under-17s got dumped out last month in the quarterfinals, again on penalties. Both were penalty shootout losses. And then you have the Nations Championship coming up, but it's probably not going to be the strongest Senegalese team compared to 2 years ago. So it looks like it's a tiny bit of a decline, especially with the disappointment of the last African Cup of Nations last year, losing to Cote d'Ivoire on penalties, and the stumbling World Cup qualification so far. So it's a little bit not so positive as it was probably 12 months ago.
Gotcha. I mean, you mentioned the current World Cup qualifying. You're currently in Group 2, 6 games in, second in the group behind the DR Congo, 3 wins, 3 draws.
Yeah, it's been pretty tough to watch this group because I really thought we'd like go, I don't know, probably just only a few draws in this group and probably top it very comfortably. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But this DR Congo team have been very, very consistent under their new coach, Sebastian Desailly, and Senegal under Ali Cissé's last few games and the first few games under Pap Chow. They've looked a little bit more offensively for the most part. And that's what led to a lot of these boring draws, like the 0-0 against Sudan back in March. So it's a bit of a bad time right now, a little bit.
But are you confident that you'll qualify?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I can't believe I'm saying that, to be honest, because I thought this group would be really easy. But we have to go to Kinshasa in September, and I don't know when's the last time any of the top dogs in Africa have gone to Kinshasa and got like a win. The only time I can remember is Tunisia getting a draw there in 2017. It's not an easy place to go at all. And we probably need to go there to win.
Go on. Kinshasa, did you say?
Kinshasa, yes.
So, that's in Congo, is it?
Yeah.
I see. I mean, there is no African qualifiers in this international break.
Yeah.
So you're playing Ireland and then playing England.
Yeah, it's a bit of a free hit window. Just a chance to try out some new players. There's no real pressure in this window, I feel. Just try out some new players who have done well in this season, some younger players. That's what I hope to see. I don't want to see like the same old, 30-plus players that haven't really been doing too well. Just some new blood. That's what I want to see this window for sure.
Fair enough. I mean, you've already mentioned Mane, of course, formerly of Liverpool, now applying his trade over in Saudi for Al Nassr. There's a few players that the English fans will recognise, but I mean, I don't know whether you'll know whether they're going to be turning out. There's Idrissa Gueye of Everton, Pape Sarr of Tottenham, and of course has just picked up a trophy. Sarr of Crystal Palace as well picked up a trophy. By the time this goes out, Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson may have picked up a trophy.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, Mane is from what I can gather, is a hero in Senegal.
For sure. Yeah, but there's a bit of controversy with his recent performances for the last 12 months. They've been really bad, actually. They've been really, really bad. Yeah, I feel like most people are just kind of wanting to move on a little bit, especially with younger players like Hassan Diao at Coma, who's been doing very well before his injury. We're not going to see him in this one, though, because I believe he's not going to be fit until like August, around about. But there's a lot of younger players that I think most Senegalese fans want to see, like Iliman Ndiaye at Everton. He's been really, really good in the Premier League this season. Ismaila Sarr's had his best year, like you said. Habib Diarra of Strasbourg, he's linked to Brighton, I believe.
Okay.
He had a really good year in France. So a real chance to try out some new players. I don't want to see the old players, that's for sure. That's
fair enough. Yes, it's a bit experimental.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you also mentioned Aliou Cissé. He was your former manager, but you've got a new head coach in charge now.
Yes, Aliou Cissé was in charge for 9 years now, which is unheard of. And like, especially in African football, coaches change like every 2 months. But he's been there he was there for 9 years and stabilized the team into at least a top 3 team in Africa at the very least. But those last 6 months in charge were really bad. The Cote d'Ivoire game, the DRC game where we drew at home when we really should have won that game. And then the bad performance against Burkina Faso, that was probably the final straw before the FSF, the Football Federation, Senegal decided to appoint Pap Chow, in which so far, in like, I want to say he's had 6 games, we haven't conceded a goal, but it's taken a while for things to click offensively, I feel like. But still, the jury's out on him. I want to give him like at least like a year before really analyzing him so far.
I think if he was to get you to the World Cup, then he's done a good job then.
Yeah, I'd say that, as well as probably because there's an AFCON at the end of the year in which the pressure is really high to at least perform compared to the last AFCON where we got round to 16. I think the expectations like semifinals at least in that one. So semifinals and a World Cup qualification is probably what I'd be looking at to say if it was a success or not.
I want to say that the AFCON, is that Morocco?
It is Morocco, and that's going to be very tough to win with how Morocco have been playing.
Yeah, okay. That's going to be interesting. Interesting times then. I mean, just with regards to yourself over there, is there a big Senegalese community where you are?
In New York, for sure. Compared to other places in America, for sure. Like in Harlem, and specifically like North Manhattan, there's a lot of Senegalese there, but I live in Brooklyn. So,
okay.
Not many Senegalese there, but for sure, like in New York is the biggest one. New York, Chicago, and Atlanta are like the big epicenters for Senegalese.
Yeah. And so it's, what are you? You are 5 hours behind at the moment, us. So I think whatever time the game kicks off on the Tuesday, let's say.
I think it's at 3. Yeah,
but that'd be, it's an evening game for us. So what, it'd be about 3 o'clock in the afternoon for you?
Yeah, that's usually when Senegal plays over here. It would be like 3 o'clock all the time.
I tell you what, that's handy. That's quite handy.
It depends. If it's like in the middle of the week, it could be quite challenging because I got stuff to do. Besides watching the game in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as I mentioned, you are you look after the at Senegal English Twitter X account. How long's that been going for?
That's been going on for, it'll be 5 years in, 5 years. It'll be 5 years in just July, I want to say.
Yeah.
So it's been going on for a while. But I kind of started it as a side gig for the most part. Because I just like watching Senegalese League football and just commenting on it. That's about it. So it's like a hobby. So,
Fair enough. Yeah. So you're going to, I think England, the day we're talking, England have released their squad, and it's a fairly strong squad, but it's going to be interesting to see the players that he selects for this game.
There was a Club World Cup as well, so I didn't know if there was going to be some rotation in there.
Yeah, Club World Cup takes place, I think, maybe 3 weeks after this game. I think it's maybe beginning of July. I'll be honest, the Club World Cup over here is quite frowned upon. It's not a popular decision.
Yeah,
I know
it's not popular here either.
Is it not? Tell us a little bit. What's the feeling?
We're like, I don't know, because the AFCON was supposed to take place this summer, and then it had to get postponed once again because FIFA wanted to prioritize its Club World Cup. But the prices, if you look at the prices for the stadiums, because in America, they do dynamic pricing, so it fluctuates, especially in New York, it's going to be really expensive. So I'm not even sure if the attendances are going to be that great. For me, most American outlets have said it's going to be mostly empty stadiums. So
that's so disappointing.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I'd say it's disappointing, but I genuinely hope it backfires on FIFA, if I'm honest.
I hope so too, to be honest, because I don't see a point in expanding it.
Money talks, unfortunately. And then obviously next year is the big one, the World Cup. Hopefully you can qualify and get there. If Senegal can get there, you're going to try and get yourself a ticket?
If they play New York, I feel like that's the only way. New York or Philadelphia, that would be within like driving distance. I think Philadelphia's like 2 hours from here.
Right.
So I don't want one of those two cities, but hopefully New York. If they do play New York, I'll be there. Yeah,
no, nice one. You got to get there first. I'm confident that you can get there. I think it's Senegal, one of those teams, despite the fact that
I hope so, yeah.
I think the first time you got to a World Cup was 2002.
Yeah.
But you kind of, since then, it almost seems like from the African continent, Senegal are one of the teams that you'd expect to make it.
Especially with the expansion, for sure. For us not to be there with like 10 teams, it would be kind of crazy. But yeah.
Lot of things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Mo, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the game. Hope you can find somewhere to watch it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Hope it doesn't interrupt with general life and work.
Yeah, I hope so. It should be. It should be nice. Thank you so much.
All the best. Take care. Bye-bye. There we have it. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you so much to Ivan Mora from Andorra, Mo from Senegal, and Adam from the Tricky Talks podcast, all for their time. It's really appreciated, and I hope you found it all interesting and informative. Now, if you are off to Barcelona, safe travels, however you get there. Perhaps I'll see you via Toulouse. Yeah, I'm part of that crew. Actually, I must say a quick thanks to Paul Dennis, who once again has pulled out all the stops in organising coaches for England fans. And I know he's not the only one. So if you are using a fan-organised coach, just give the organiser a thanks and take your rubbish with you. Of course, then after that, we go to Nottingham. Perhaps I'll see you there. Once more, this is my last opportunity to mention England Shirt Day on the podcast before the day. Find an England shirt, pop it on for the game. I'm really looking forward to seeing some throwbacks on the day. I've got a couple in mind that I'm going to be looking out for. Will you be wearing one of them? It is all for a good cause, the Bobby Moore Fund. Once again, thank you so much if you've already donated. There is still plenty of time to get involved. Just head to my social pages. You'll find the donation page just there. A couple of quid goes a long way. But I stress, just give what you can afford. It's not a competition. Now, I'm not sure when the review episode will be out, as I've actually got a 3-part mini-series coming up shortly after the Senegal game. If you know your dates and you are looking towards the World Cup next year, then that may be a clue for you. But I'll endeavour to get a review out at some point. So until then, take care of yourselves. Cheers.